So, hello guys, welcome to the second part of the year. As you know, we're already in the month of August, so essentially, July, we're even well into the second part of the year. And then this is the year I actually started reading again. I used to read very, very well before, although I didn't used to post about it, but I used to be a very good reader. Oh God, my earring. Don't mind that earring. So, as I was saying, I actually started reading again this year after taking care of my children all these years, right? So I started in the month of, let's say, from June ish. So in this video, I also wanted to show you guys all I have been able to read. Let's call it for the first half of this year, right? So all the books that I was able to read. So before we proceed, I would like you guys to please subscribe to the channel if you like books or bookish things, and then also you can check out my Instagram account to follow the progress of any book that I may be reading. So let us get to it. So these are the books, so you can see them. One, two, three, four. So I was able to read four books in the first half of this year. I was not able to start in January, so at least I'm proud of what I was able to do. So this is the first one I was able to. I read Aragon. Aragon, as you can see. So if you check out my channel, you'll see where I talked about it and I did a review of Aragon. So it was the very first book I started with this year, and I really really liked it. If you want to see my thoughts on this book, you can check out my review and see how many stars I gave this book. So from the what is written at the back, I found out that it is a series. It's a trilogy actually. No, okay, it's a trilogy, or no, a four-part series. So I still have three more to read. So at the back it says it is a number one New York Times bestseller. It is a USA Today bestseller. And it says One Boy, One Dragon, A World of Adventure. Yes, it's indeed a world of adventure, and Aragon is the boy that they are talking about. I really enjoyed it, and I will recommend it to anyone that has not read it before. So that was the first book I read this year. And the second book I read this year was a historical book. It's about a true life event, the Watergate scandal, and it's called Lost Honor by John Dean. So John Dean is one of those that was involved was actually involved in the Watergate scandal, and he actually went to jail for a short period of time because of his involvement. He was a lawyer. I've forgotten in what capacity he was serving in the Nixon administration at the time, but he actually suffered for his crimes in jail before he now came out. So the story was following his life after incarceration and how it affected him, his family, his relationships, and his emotions. So in the cover I actually read, it says Lost Honor chronicles the aftermath of the Watergate break-in and subsequent scandal as it affected one of its best known participants. John Dean takes us through the maelstrom of public events and personal reckonings that followed his imprisonment. So I really enjoyed it even more than the first one. And again, if you would like to see what I thought about it, check out the video where I talked about how many stars I gave this book. I really enjoyed it. The writing style was very, very good. I don't know if it's because he was a lawyer, so maybe he was used to writing, and he was very, very good with words. So I really, really loved this book. So the third book I read, that is after reading Lost Honor, is this book, Chair Army and Major Whittlesey. So as I said before, all the books I've been reading this year have something to do with battle or war in one form or the other. So this one, a battle involving dragons and magic and all that. And this one also involves a battle of some sorts. And then this one is talks about actual war. And if you have been following me on Instagram, you know that this one was a tearjerker from beginning till end. It chronicles the journey of men preparing for war. The war they were talking about was World War One. Then they used to call it the Great War because World War Two had not come. So World War One was the Great War. So It chronicles the journey of men, their state of mind when they are going for the war. Everybody is all pumped up, all ready, all the propaganda and all that. Then they get to the actual war and everything becomes real, people lose their lives, lose their body parts, lose their friends, and then suddenly the world is turned upside down. So, the title of the book, it is named for the two main characters who were in fact heroes in the book, and according to actual history, they were also heroes in real life because the Cherami is the name of a bird. You can see the picture of a bird here, the name of a dove. You know, in World War One, technology was not yet advanced, so they used to send messages with birds. So many birds were actual casualties of this war. So the narration was taking place from the point of view of the bird and the point of view of the human being who is the major Whittlesey. So it is a very, very interesting book. It was well written, the plots were well explored. I really, really liked this book, and it was thoughtfully done because these two characters are historical characters. They actually happened, but then the writer had to like flesh out the characters, as in bring it down to their everyday life, and I think she did quite a good job of it. As I was reading this book, I cried and cried and cried. It was really heart wrenching and touching. And then I really recommend this book. Again, on my channel, check out how many stars I gave this book, and I do recommend it to you guys to read. So last but not the least, this book, Captain Corelli's Mandolin by Louis de Beneres, is another war movie. In fact, it is very similar to the one I read, but this one is about World War II, and it is set in Greece. It is set in Greece. So it is this one is actually also a tearjerker, but not as much as this one, because this one also it's explored more the relationships between those that were left behind as the men went to the war, how it's affected them. So it was not really talking about the violence and the terror that was happening on the battlefield. Instead, it focused more on what was happening back at home, how the people at home, how relationships, how things, the dynamics changed because some people had to go off to war, or because some people died at war and then the news came back to their families. It was also a tearjerker, as I said, but not as much as the first one, and I really enjoyed it. As you can see, the print, it has very, very fine print, you can see. So it was really packed, action packed, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's also named for the star or the main when I say he's the main character, because he was not introduced into the story until about a quarter of the way into the book. So but then when he was introduced, his story now took over, and then he if you follow on Instagram, you'll see where I talked about my favorite character in this book. He was indeed my favorite character because of the way he approached life, and also he was a good player of the mandolin and a good music teacher. So I really enjoyed this book. It says, talking about the book, it says it is 1941 and Captain Antonio Corelli, a young Italian officer, is posted to the Greek island of Cephalonia as part of the occupying forces. At first, he is ostracized by the locals, but as a conscientious but far from fanatical soldier whose main aim is to live a peaceful war, he proves in time to be civilized, humorous, and a consummate musician. Just like I said, you can see he's full of good qualities as a human being, and he's ended up winning over the loyalty and love of those that he even came to occupy their country. And I'm so glad that he did not end up dying at the end, and also he ended up reuniting with his love interest. I like the way this book was written. It gives enough attention to the war that was going on. Then it also gives enough attention to romance. There's a bit of romance in the relationships, as I said before, of those that were left at home as a result of some people going off to the war. So I would strongly recommend it to anyone. And then if I see any other thing by this author, I think they wrote it in the book that he has other works which are older than this, and this is quite an old book, it's not recent. I will surely recommend it. So guys, those are the 4 books that I have read so far in this year. I would like to know what you guys have read so far this year. Please drop it in the comments and let us discuss it. And let us discuss it. So I'll be proceeding with small books for the second half of the year, and I will surely be back right here to tell you guys what I was able to read in the next 6 months of 2025. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have watched up to this moment, thank you so very much. Don't forget to comment, share, and like this video. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Off it.